Positive energy and good vibrations from me to you. You have now tuned in to the Imperfect Fathers podcast. Positive energy and good vibrations as always. You know what it is. This is RJD, the Imperfect Gentleman, and this is the Imperfect Fathers podcast. Yo, fellas, say what up to the good people, man.
What up, good people? Yeah. It's me, Swiss Mahogany, popped in. Very excited. And that's it, man. I'm gonna keep it limited, man. Troy, go ahead. I'm just amped to be here. With Troy.
Yo, where you go that quick? Do we lose him? Yo, Troy, you there?
Troy,
I'm here. Listen, I want to say happy Memorial Day to all the good people out there. Listen, I want to say thank you to our vets. I want to say thank you to our active service members. And I want to say thank you to all of the family members, all of the friends, all of the extended family, everybody that served that's no longer with us. Happy Memorial Day.
Definitely.
For sure, man. Listen, absolutely. For everybody on this platform, man, we salute you guys, everybody who serves for us in this great country that we do live in. We appreciate you from the bottom of our hearts. This is a dope weekend, man. We about to have a real great conversation. But you know, around here, we got to take care of things and do things in decency and order, which means we got to talk to our Father and pay the bills. So with that being said, Father, we thank you for another week. For real, we are grateful because we know that these hours, these seconds, these days, these weeks, these months, these years are not given lightly, God. And we don't take them lightly. So right now we say thank you for everything that we do have, the things that we will have. And God, we also thankful for the things that you're taking away from us because we know that all things work together for our good. So right now we say thank you, and we actually right now to bless our voices as we go across the airways to do our thing in our own special way, right? To entertain, to inspire, and also encourage fathers to be the best version of themselves. So with that being said, God, we actually touch our voices that we be vessels of you to do things that we need to do for our fathers out there. In that Jesus' name we do pray. Amen.
Man.
Yo.
Amen.
And now, you know, the next part of the bills. We got to pay the bills around here. Listen, for all your music needs, whether it be hip hop, gospel, R&B, you name it, those guys over at Now and Never Entertainment is the way to go. Trust me when I tell you, if you have a project musically, he will help bring it to life. I know that personally. I've worked with him on many projects. And let me tell you, the guy has an ear and a hand for music. So trust me, all your needs. If you have any kind of music that you need to do with movies, reels, content, any kind of music, he's your guy over at Now or Never Entertainment. And if you use the word imperfect, 50% off on all the beats in the beat store. So listen, go over there and use the word imperfect. Shop smart, shop black, shop Now or Never, and let them know we sent you. Now, for all the pay sponsor of this beautiful podcast, Cassie's Classic Designs. Listen, for all your print needs, right? If you want there's something printed on your shirt, or if you want something printed on a hat like even Troy has on right now, Cassie can make it happen. She can definitely print hats, signs, cups, you name it. So if you have any kind of creative need, holla at her. Cassie's _classic_ design on Instagram. Yes, Swish. She can put it on a flip flop that's like a dog chewed it too.
The world is open, and the ladies been going crazy with the flip flops. That's I know she's gonna get them orders, and I just wanted to make sure that they know that they can place their orders with her. That's
yes. If you have any kind of flip flop design need, definitely send them over to Cassie's Classic Design. If you want to get at her directly and you're not on Instagram for some strange reason, listen, get at her Gmail, Cassie's Classic Design at gmail.com. Yo, Troy, do your job, man.
Listen, I just want to know, can she get them on them sundresses? Because, you know, it's sundress season, bro.
Yo, you know what? Great question, Troy. Absolutely.
It is.
We're gonna put that on a promo sheet as well. Sundress season. Facts.
So listen, I know I wasn't on the podcast last week. Y'all talked about, you know, trauma. Your trauma, deal with your trauma before it deals with you. But really, we want to talk about healing from the trauma.
and how you actively um, go about doing that. That's what it is, man. How do we heal from the trauma? What steps do we take? How do we keep other people from becoming victim to the things that we've been through, not
Mhm.
inflicting that same pain that we carry from that trauma, that we carry from that baggage on other people, man. And I think the healing part is so incredibly important. It's not something that I think in our community that, we've been effectively taught to deal with, sweep it under the rug, go take a nap, go get a drink. I think a lot of times don't talk about it, right? A lot of times people think not talking about the trauma is the best way to deal with it. And the reality is you just holding on to something that sometimes it grows and it manifests inside of you that it becomes toxic. And a lot of times we get into relationships and because we didn't deal with that trauma, because we haven't learned to heal from it, we carry it into, being parents, brothers, sisters, husbands, wives. Shit, we even sometimes carry it into our friendships, making our friendships toxic. So it's that healing process. And for me, I tell anybody, you have to take time to recognize what caused that trauma. Do you have to address people that were maybe involved in it, or maybe it's something, excuse me, a situation where you can address, the people. Maybe it was just a personal trauma. Maybe it was something that didn't, involve another person directly or indirectly. But we got to talk about it, and we can't be afraid to let people know what it is that we're going through. We can't be afraid to let people know, listen, I've had this thing happen to me in my life that to me is traumatic. And most importantly, to all the friends and the family members out there, don't downplay, don't minimize somebody's traumatic experiences because it prevents their healing. So that's what I got, man.
That's definitely intense, and it's good to hear. I personally feel that the steps to trauma or healing from it are still one of the things that I am putting together or in search of myself. I know the first step, or one of the first steps for me, had been to acknowledge it, to recognize it, like you said, and acknowledge it for what it was, and also acknowledge that it's what it was is a past tense form of speaking. So kind of letting it be there, not trying to like sweep it under the rug or act like it didn't exist or didn't happen, but acknowledging it for what it was, leaving it where it is, and then using it for what you can to be better in the future. How you use it, what you take from it, I think is of course going to be different for everyone else. It's going to be a difficult step. I think that might be maybe step 2 or step 3 in the process, and I feel that it's a very present step for me, because I've acknowledged the trauma, and now I feel personally like in pursuit of healing, I'm just trying to figure out what to do to get the results that I want to get, and I feel like those are the rest of the steps in my journey, in healing from trauma. Because, like you said, we've all been traumatized, we've all experienced it, and recognizing it is definitely an important part that I feel a lot of people don't truly just embrace the step so that you can really get past it. It's hard to do. Um, so was that a help? Was that kind of a good an answer in the right direction for um, what you guys were thinking as far as or similar
Absolutely.
directions as far as
I believe.
healing?
I believe. No, I believe. And the question you just asked, and I think I'm a mute you. You'll mute yourself as a matter of fact, G's. Um, every the way you just asked that question at the end of your statement was literally, and we're gonna welcome in our bro right now, KB, into the conversation. We are completely whole right now. Anybody watching the podcast or listening to the podcast, when all four of us are on the line, we are whole. This is the brotherhood.
Man, where your stash at?
KB was gonna be the only one to ask. I knew somebody was gonna ask about it in a minute.
Where your stash at, bro?
Hey man, listen, I went and decided I was gonna go back and clean it off for the first time. My wife has never seen me this way, and all the time we've been together. So I came home yesterday, y'all, and listen, she was like, "Who the hell are you?"
Where your stash at, nigga?
You got the
comedian once told me you can't trust a nigga without no stash.
You got the naked booty face. He got the trauma face.
This is healing right here. This is healing. Nah, but seriously, I know y'all really want to know. This is healing. This is really healing, though. A part of the process. But we'll get into the facial in a minute. But listen, what I was gonna say was that Swiss asked a valid question. He said, "Did I answer the question right?" And the question is healing. And the truth of the matter is, healing is individual, right? We can't put a general a topic when we say the word healing, because healing is individual. What it takes for you to heal is different than what it takes for me to heal, right? We might have the same process, but what it takes for you to heal is different from what it takes for me to heal. I might need a walk around the park and a conversation. You may need to be embraced. You understand what I'm saying? What we all need is different in the space, but what we all do need is healing. I believe that every person above the age of 10 years old has something to heal from. And it's his life, right? Especially the people that are like us four on the screen. When you talk about trauma and what life is, if you ask all four of us on the screen right now to look back in our history, we didn't know what we know now is trauma to be trauma. We thought it was real life. We thought it was regular life, should I say. So the fact of the matter is that when it comes to trauma and healing, that's up to the individual and how that individual needs to heal. He has to figure that out.
Man, went pause in the wrong time.
Platform.
Man, let's talk about this man's stash, man. Where your stash at, bro? You pause, bro. Like you been pausing. It's just you and stash, no stash.
And I was wondering too. I seen on my screen everybody went blank, so I was like, "What?"
Nah.
But Doc, and I'm gonna give KB a minute to jump in. But oftentimes, we kind of make jokes, right? Especially in the Black community. We call it dysfunction, family dysfunction. My family is dysfunctional. But and you get to laugh about it. You get to go to family reunions and barbecues and cookouts and talk about certain things.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is, a lot of times people don't realize how bad some of those dysfunctions impact us. Through our adolescent years, through our 20s, 30s, all the way into adulthood. And we just assume that's my family. Or those are the things that happened to me. But, to all my kings out there are things that happen to us that as men, we have to be willing to address. We have to be willing to verbalize it. And oftentimes as Black men, we are, because we carry this persona, especially when we have a family, that it's a weakness. That if we verbalize certain trauma, if we talk about it, if we cry about it, don't cry about it, because that's automatically considered a weakness. But the reality is, listen, Michael Baisden wrote a book, Men Cry in the Dark.
I remember that.
And oftentimes that's what we break down at, when nobody can see it. But the reality is sometimes it takes us breaking down in front of our friends, in front of our girlfriends, in front of our wives, so that people can really understand the wholeness of what we've been through. Whether it was, listen, issues with your father, issues with your mother, previous bad relationships. Because people will say, well, women are the ones who struggle the most when they've had a bad relationship. Shit.
False.
Listen, I think men struggle just as much
Silently.
from a bad relationship. And unfortunately, what happens is we put that energy out and we effectively take that out on other women because we haven't healed from it.
And if we talk about it, we call us all kind of bitches and hoes, and man, you just a bitch, man up.
Facts.
Nah, nigga, that just hurt, nigga.
Nah, that's a fact.
I'm out here hurting in pain because someone I thought was supposed to do me right end up doing me blood wrong, and someone who I put my trust in. That's a human thing, bro. That's not a girl thing. That's not a woman thing. If you put your trust in someone and they betray it, bro, you're gonna be hurt. Someone that you hold dear to you and they betray you, you're gonna hurt. And you're gonna hurt in a specific type of way. And you're not a bitch. You did. That's not on you. That's on them if they chose to betray you that type of way. So I think this stigma that we have, especially in our community, of not being able to verbalize our hurt, not being able to talk about it, I think it causes us to lash out in other ways, where now we are being called dogs and we are being called all kinds of other things because we're lashing out in a way because, like the old adage say, hurt people hurt people.
Hurt people. Yeah. Yeah. And it's figuring out, how do we stop the hurt? How do we stop that continuous cycle of hurt? Especially as Black men. You know what I'm saying? So, and again, you guys have heard me talk about this plenty. Just, getting a therapist. Or if you can't start there, if you feel like I don't have the means, like you really got to put it out on the table to a specific person. And here's the one thing I'm gonna say: healing is not going to your boys and drinking through it, smoking through it, going to the strip club, having sex with a bunch of different women. That's not healing from it. Really, that's only compounding it. That's making the situation worse. Because what you're doing, you put that energy on somebody else.
Yo, I'm over here playing musical chairs with the microphones, and because I don't know why it's popping so hard. Like, for some reason or another, like when all the mics open and one person is speaking, it's popping crazy. But to Troy's point, excuse me, the reason why we want to talk about this, and Swiss, we're about to come to you right quick. I know you want to say something to the statement, is that I don't even believe that we understand how to heal. You know what I'm saying? Like that it's the how part that I really wanted to discuss. I think we lost Troy. I think he had lost service. But your Swiss, go ahead. I'm about to unmute your joints, so I'll mute myself back. Go ahead.
My back. I'm unmuted now. So I just learning and paying attention to myself, my journey, and listening. I'm realizing that the process of healing is such a maze. It's like a maze, and I'm finding that it's such a maze. Like when I have found myself able to not be so affected by the negative things that someone has said or done, I also find myself just as non-receptive when that same person says something good. And what's up, mommy? Um, and I realized that's not healthy. That's almost just as bad as as ignoring it. So you got to figure out something else. You know what I mean? So when I felt like is enough, and I was able to, cope with, hearing crazy things and not letting it affect me as much, then I realized, oh man, it was affected. It was just affected this way. So now you got to readjust. You know what I'm saying? And vamp, come up with a new plan or a new strategy to, get get the goal. Get the outcome, the result that you're looking for. So it's a maze. It's a journey. Like the journey is, you might go down a street and you feel like it's a good street, and then it's a dead end. You got to turn around and go back, but you learn, from that. So it's tough, man. It's tough. It's a really tough thing. And depending on everybody's different circumstances, it makes it unique. But everyone's gonna have to find, that sort of balance that helps them actually really sustain, not just seem like it's okay and you're band-aiding, wounds, but that you're really actually, curing. And you may not find out whether it's band-aided or cured until you run into it again, or you run into a wall where, that bruise kind of opens back up and you realize, something like that. So it's a process, man. I'm grateful, and I think people should definitely have some sort of people that they can, reach out to and talk to and hear from along your journey. Therapy is great if you can find one. If you cannot find a therapist or somebody to talk to, don't give up. You know what I'm saying? Because that's one of the things that I also recently found out was that you will get more stressed out and a little bit crazier looking for a therapy and not finding it. That is another layer of, frustration and hindrance from freedom that um, is no help, and I believe a lot of us have experienced that in our younger lives, and just when we got older have really found the ways to figure out, all right, we got to keep going because there's something that I got to have that's going to free me from whatever I'm going through. um, so I'm going to keep finding it. But that's another observation, that you can look for the help and not find it.
Facts.
So don't give up just because you don't find it. You know what I'm saying? Find the
Mm.
help even in that. Like I was thinking, maybe the reason that things are going the way that I'm going for me, is because I'm supposed to make something so that people don't go through this. You know what I'm saying? And then that became therapeutic to think about, okay, well, if this is a problem, how do we have this solution for this problem? And that doesn't necessarily heal me totally, but my mind and my spirit are calm enough to work through the problems to find a solution. And then every now and then you need, some assistance like this show, like a friend or two. It's all part of the healing process, man. It really is.
Absolutely. Um, and and we got some comments over here. Latoya, we're definitely gonna come to you. But even Swiss just now hit a point that I really wanted to address really quick, because the how part, right? It's the how do we heal, right? Because Swiss, you just finished saying like we can bandage, right? We put band-aids over certain kind of cuts. Now, I made an analogy a few weeks back, but I'm gonna bring it back. Let's think about this. If we get cut, right, and the cut needs stitches or sutures, whatever they those the determines, right? We need stitches, and we put a band-aid over that cut. Is that cut ever gonna heal? No, it's never gonna heal. It's gonna get infected, right? It's gonna get worse. Hold on, KB, you on mute? What'd you say? You gotta unmute yourself.
I was gonna say eventually it probably heals, but it's not gonna heal properly. It's gonna
Facts,
scar. It's gonna
facts.
it's gonna scab. It's gonna do this. Where if you was to get the stitches, it would have left nothing. Or if you was to get the proper sutures. The thing is, especially with healing, and even to this day, and I apologize because my voice is going in and I'm not feeling the best. And bro, it was like 98 degrees 2 days ago, and it's 45. Bring me home, like. But so I think a lot of the times we honestly don't really heal from things. We allow time to kind of the whole time thing to kind of play with us Kylie, I'm doing something, baby. So we allow the kind of time to go past it, and as time goes, more time passes, it hurts less. Daddy, I don't. And we don't need that healing Daddy. As much. But Daddy. If something, then that becomes a trigger, and now we're living our life based on that. So we have to be so very careful to find those things and try to heal them. And to be honest with you, I don't have those answers as to how, as of yet. It takes sometimes, to be honest with you, it's gonna take that professional help, bro. Like I don't think we're equipped enough to find what we need to heal from and how to heal from it. That requires outside help. That's like having a broke ankle and trying to put two splinters on it, and it
Right.
hasn't been put back together right. It needs professional help, and I think we all need to seek it.
That's a fact. Hey, so check this out. We got the comments in there, and now I want to address these comments one by one. So Nicole says, if you are aware of how your trauma has hurt you, do you just tell your kid to deal with it or make it intentional to heal so they won't? Also, is it different for a son than a daughter when you're a man? Wow, that's a multi-layer question, Queen. Um, but we're gonna address it. This is what we do. So he said, let's once you're aware of your trauma, you're hurt, do you just tell your kids? No, absolutely not. That's first and foremost. Absolutely not. Because if you're dealing with your trauma, you're not gonna tell anyone to just deal with it, right? Because that's not how trauma is dealt with, first and foremost. And you wouldn't tell that to a child. Um, Next part of it, or will you make it intentional to heal? Absolutely, because that's the trauma is actually what the cut is, right? So we use the analogy of the cut earlier. So the trauma is the cut. So whatever that is, whether daddy issues, mommy issues, we all have some kind of issues, right? We all have some sort of issue. If we don't deal with whatever that issue is, that leads over to our family ones and our loved ones and our children. But the truth is, we gotta, in order for us to help somebody understand our trauma and help us deal with our own trauma, we gotta make sure that other people around us understand that we have trauma, right? Like, there's nothing wrong with saying like, yo, I'm not okay because I've been through something, right? Like, even with my kids, like I tell my wife all the time, help me connect with my children on a certain level because I've never had that connection from another adult. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I expressed that, like, listen, I need help in this area where you can connect with the children on that level. I struggle. Help me there. We got to be honest about this stuff. Like, for some reason or another, trauma makes us insecure and not want us to tell the truth about it, right? Like, for some of our traumas and our scars, we want to hide for some unknown reason because it makes us uncomfortable, right? We don't want to think about it because of the thoughts hurt. The things that come about those thoughts make us feel insecure. But the truth is, the only way we deal with them is by dealing with them. And we got to be intentional about dealing with them. We can't just deal with them or when they come about. And then Swiss said something earlier. We don't know that that trauma is dealt with until we see it again. But the truth is, you don't know a muscle is stronger until you have to use that muscle, right? You don't know, like, you can go to the gym all you want, but until you actually have to put that muscle to use, like by picking something up or using it in real life, you don't know how strong you've gotten. But it's the same thing with our traumas. You don't know if you've dealt with it until you've dealt with a trigger moment where something we used to trigger you don't trigger you no more. But how do you get to that point? This is the whole purpose of this conversation. So I'm letting it all build up right
Going
now.
to the gym. I mean,
Fact.
the fact is, and this was an excellent question, Toya. I think in our community, that whole saying of, and I think we dealt with this a couple weeks back, saying, "This is who I am," and that's it. Like, deal with me here. No, it's not who you are.
Right.
It's who you were made to be. I mean, unfortunately, and it's what triggered you to get to where you are. And unfortunately, you haven't dealt with that. So therefore, you're not showing up as your authentic self. You're showing up as your circumstances.
Wow, KB. Boy, I'm gonna send you a cash app on that one. That's a word right there.
Let the church say.
Amen.
The
Yo,
plate is going around.
but hold on. And the last part of her statement is it different for a son than a daughter? And to be honest, people might say it is, but there is no difference, right? We take this gender thing and we spread it thin. But the truth of the matter is we're individuals. And the same thing is good for the goose is good for the gander. So it's the same thing with your daughter, the same thing with your son. You have to walk them through your traumas. Like you think that I don't walk my kids through mine? Like when I actually yell at my kids and I don't know why I'm yelling at them, I calm myself down and I go back and speak to them. Listen, your grandmother, she used to yell a lot, right? So she used to yell at me for no reason, and she'll tell you that. But right now, I catch myself doing it. So when I do it and I come back and I apologize, I'm really apologizing because I didn't mean to go off the hinges. But we got to be transparent in front of our children and people around us to let them know that, yo, it's not just who I am. It's not just what I do. It's the trauma I've been through. It's why I'm like the way I am right now. And I think that if we tell the truth to the people around us, it's going to do two things. It's going to put the ones that's supposed to be around us closer, and the ones that really ain't supposed to be around us, they'll leave. Because the person that don't want to help you with your cut or your wound don't want to hear about it. Just deal with your trauma. I don't want to deal with that. Right? That's the person you don't want to be around.
Well,
Yo, Swizzle, what you got, Swizzle?
I was gonna say it might not be even that. Some of them that might just be a trigger for them too, and they can't really help you.
Facts. What you got, Swizzle?
Oh, me, I'm gonna sidestep that because y'all in the middle of a little bit of messiness because these questions is coming from the mother of my daughters, who's not seeing eye to eye with me right now. So the questions is being worded in a way where it's going to work out in the answer of the public favor. But the reality of it is, now when we're talking about trauma and healing, like you said, KB, you are who you are, and then you aren't who you are because you are who you're trying to be, right? But you can only be as best as you can be with the best things around you. So you got to learn how to filter out what's good for you and what's not good for you so that you can be your best, which is a part of everybody's individual process in healing and trauma. So in answer to those questions, no, nothing is ever any different from sons or daughters, but things are different when you know all the details because everybody's situations are always different because of their details. And I'm gonna leave that right there.
Okay. What we not gonna do is we're not gonna do this, right? We're not gonna bring personal endeavors to the air, right? That's not what we want to do on this platform. First of all, I want to apologize, Swiss, to you. I did not know. And I
No,
want to
you good, man.
apologize to the queen on the line
It's all good.
for this is not the space for that, but I do appreciate the transparency, right? And also too, just appreciate you for coming on the line, just to keep it a stack. But we do have another comment. Let's see what you got. People make healing an option opposed to a must do and a priority. Oh man, like, absolutely. Queen Harris, listen, that was one of the most profound statements. As a matter of fact, I want to put it back up there because it's true. Like, yo, it's a priority. It's a must do. Like, if we don't heal, guys, like we can never move forward, right? We will always be hurting. Like, it's like a nagging injury. Like, I've been through a few injuries in my life. And every time that I decide to try to push through or to try to keep going through and fighting through it, I end up doing two things: hurting myself even more and prolonging the inevitable. Right? I'm gonna have to sit down and rest it at some point. And that just brings me to the next point of the conversation: is how do we heal? Right? How do we heal? Now, listen, we all know how to rest, right? We all know how to go to sleep. We get tired enough, we just fall out, right? But let's talk about the type of rest that we have to fall under, right? Let's talk about the kind of rest that's really necessary to heal. So, as everybody might know and watch my journey on Instagram, I'm back in the gym, right? Shout out to your boy. Shout out to Big Q305, my personal trainer right now, kicking my behind. Shout out to him. But the gym has also taught me a little something about healing, right? So we think that when we go to the gym and we lift all this weight, that the healing starts. I mean, we get stronger by lifting weights, right? But that's not where the truth is. The truth is the strength that really comes is when we rest and we heal, right? So one day I'm in the gym and he has me doing these deadlifts, and I'm like, oh, this is killing me. And I'm like, yo, I don't want to do this no more. But I'm like, yo, why am I really doing this? And I'm thinking about the process. I'm like, all right, I'm doing this so I can get stronger. But where does the strength really lie at? Right? It doesn't lie when I come to the gym the very next day doing the same workout because I'm not stronger yet. It takes me taking time to rest my body in that muscle, right? I can't do any strenuous activities on my back, on my legs, if I want this to heal. Then it made me think about relationships. I said to myself, wow, a lot of us men and women are just going from one relationship to the other trying to heal. Meanwhile, we're still working those same muscles, right? We're still overworking those same muscles. So now I'm like, yo, you know what? Where does the healing come from? The process is you go through the trauma, which is the gym, right? The gym is the trauma. That's the workout. So you go through the trauma, you come home, you eat, you rest up, right? So I'm eating, I'm gonna get my body together. Days go past. The next day after the trauma, and everybody knows the day and the day after that, you are in pain. It is a painful process of healing, y'all. Healing is a painful process. I'm going to say it one more time. Healing is a painful process. It doesn't feel good. After you work out, you don't want nobody to touch you. You don't want nobody to even look at you too hard because your body is aching. Now, let's talk about what's going on when your body's aching. Your body's repairing itself because what happened through the trauma is that your muscles would have been torn down, just like in real life trauma. Your confidence, your ego, your self-esteem, those things have been torn down. Traumas of life will hurt you. We go through these processes and we say to ourselves, oh, I'm hurting, right? Because this is what happens through the trauma. But guess what? Time goes past. We can do, and two things either happen. We either heal the right way, or like KB says, we put a splint on our own legs, right? We heal ourselves the wrong way by getting involved in other relationships, alcohol, drug abuse, those type of things. But let's talk about the healing process and where the strength really resides. It's after those 2 or 3 days go by and you've eaten the right foods, you've gotten your adequate rest, right? Those two things have been taken care of. Now let's use those in the same sentence towards the healing of our mind and our bodies. If we talk to a therapist, right? If we pray, we meditate, we do the things that center ourselves. We read our word. We do the things that's natural to us to heal ourselves and give ourselves the appropriate time, right? Because that's a very key factor, the appropriate time. Then guess what happens? When that muscle heals, you're stronger. You're stronger in that area. You're able to do more in that area. You're not only able to do more, you're able to carry more. Right. So where you was weak before, that strength, that weakness has now been turned into a little bit more stronger now. Your cable, you sitting over there on fire. What you got?
No, I was just kind of taking it in. I'm sincerely just thinking, like, what does true healing looks like? What does, getting over it really looks like? And if our community could really learn that, how powerful we'll actually be. How, because we see it now that, the same kids that we went to high school with, who lives a block away from us, we literally in the gang war against. Why? Same kids you played football with in Little League, because you stay on 46 and they stay on 45th, y'all beefing. Y'all literally fighting over some place that your mama rents. It's a J line. But, so I'm trying to figure out, like, what does that true healing, how do we get there as a community? And I do understand that it's all of us individually healing, but can we get there as a community as well?
If we get there first individually, KB, like that, your question just made me think about Dr. Miles Monroe's story again. Remember with the boy in the paper when I'm telling the story again real quick. So there was a young man and a baby boy. The man was trying to get some work done in the office. This baby was like, "Yo, dad, I want to go play." Dad's like, "Yo, I need a few more hours." So the son don't know time. He left, came back in 15 minutes. So dad's like, "You know what? Here's a piece of paper." He took a piece of paper and tore it up. Right? It was a picture of the globe. Right? It was a picture of the globe, and he tore it up. He said, "Here, put this together, and by the time you're finished, I'll be done my work and we'll be ready to go." Long story short, the little kid came back in 45 minutes with the paper together. The dad was blown away. Like, what? You wait a minute. That would have took me 3 hours at least. How'd you do that? Who helped you with that? The little boy says, nobody. It was easy, dad. He's like, what do you mean it was easy? How did you do that? The little boy said, I just put the man back together. So the dad was like, the man, I gave you a piece of paper and it was the world. The dad turned the paper over and realized it was a picture of the man. Now, the moral of that story is, in order for us as a community to get back and be whole, we as men and women have to heal individually first. Because in order for us to come together as healed people, we got to do the work necessary when we're by ourselves, right? Because we are a community as one, but we live separately. You dig what I'm saying? Like we all will live. We are a brotherhood, but in order for us to be brotherhoods, we all have to grow up individually. So now for us to heal individually, to come together as one is what's necessary. Now, what I want to talk about is the how part again. Now, I believe that how we heal is literally us finding out who we are, what our purpose is, and then also finding out the help that's necessary for us to move forward. Because like I said before, the strength that comes from the trauma is after the healing is over. Now, is healing gonna ever be over for any of us completely? No. I don't think that anyone's gonna ever be fully healed from anything on this earth at any point, because as we all gonna have to go through something else, right? We passed one battle, we got to deal with something else. So that's just my thought process on it. I don't know if y'all's vary, but we have another comment in the joint. Let's see what we got. Hold on, there we go. When your mental is delayed, your physical, emotional, etc., will not be able to comprehend growth. Absolutely, absolutely. What you got, Swiss? I see you was on about to come off the mute. Can I help? There you go.
I'm good. I'm just listening, taking it all in.
Got you. So, KB, I see you about you forgot we over here playing Clubhouse.
Yeah, man. No, I was gonna say, if I feel like it's healing that's needed, in terms of that whole situation that could have been left offline with Swiss and everything of that nature. But you know what I'm saying, like, and we all go through it, Swizzy. You feel me? Um, there's gonna be differences of opinion when it comes to um dealing with your significant other or baby moms or whatever, just off the strength of that y'all not seeing eye to eye. I think at the end of the day, and this is me learning now because I'm going through something similar, um, is that if we keep the babies at the forefront and not try to throw each other under the bus whenever we get the opportunity to, I think we could definitely heal. If we can't see eye to eye on nothing else, let's get eye to eye on this. What's good for the babies? You know what I'm saying? How can we push forward? How can we come together to make sure? Because I know both of us, we have the very best of thoughts, the very best of wishes for these babies. How could we get on that same page? And that might be able to then help the healing of everything else. Whether,
Absolutely.
whether healing looks like, okay, you deal with yours and I deal with mine, and we come together when we're dealing with ours. That's okay for a time. And if that time lingers, then perfectly fine. But as long as those babies are taken care of, as long as, there's no hard feelings between the two of you guys,
Yo,
and
KB,
things are left off there.
You hit a very valid point, bro, when you say about the babies, because believe it or not, before this episode of the podcast, I was actually in a Clubhouse room, and the topic of conversation was men suffering in silence. So, and the conversation from a gentleman that was like going through a situation with his children, where he's like being kept away from his children, and one of the pastors came on the line and he said one of the most damaging things we can do to not between each other as spouses is use the children as tools of pain, right? Or how do you say it? Um, get back tools. He used the word get back tools because you want to get back at someone. And the truth of the matter, the only one that hurts the most is the child.
The kids.
You dig what I'm saying? So, like, think about this. If we're talking about healing, how can we heal something when we set the next generation up to fail through the same trauma that we didn't heal through? Because the truth of the matter, if we sit here and be honest, every last one of our decisions we made have come through decisions prior to us. Everything that we've been through and made decisions as men, we have some trauma that help us make those decisions. Now, how do we go from there? From realizing the decisions that we made have either may hurt someone else or cause some trauma somewhere else? That's a transparent conversation. That's really sitting down, doing the work individually. Back to your point, KB, about how do we come together as a community? We really got to sit with ourselves. And let me tell you, I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. Whoever didn't take this time through COVID to sit down and really do some introspective work on their life, shame on you. Yo, the world stopped. Do you know I've learned more about myself than I've ever known in my whole entire life? Do you know that the reason why I can sit here right now and shave the hair off my face and be on this live comfortably now is because I'm comfortable who I am?
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying? Like, it's a joke, but I'm being dead serious.
Not
Like,
dead ass.
because for real, I couldn't do this last year. Swiss, I couldn't do this when we was on the Start Now podcast. I wasn't comfortable in who I was at all. There was still so much I was hiding and my insecurities, what I was masking with insecure ways of being really extroverted, because everybody knows I'm an extrovert. So I use my extroverted ways to hide and mask my insecurities. But the truth of the matter, I was hiding cuts that really needed stitches. I was putting band-aids on cuts that really needed stitches.
Talking about cuts, a lot of us, when we're not healing for real, we're cutting. We're cutting ourselves so many times over and over again. Like, we're literally, I forget what they call those people that like to, when they cut, they actually
slice themselves. Yeah.
They feel better about themselves, and they feel it's kind of like that relief. I think we all do that a lot, where we're reintroducing this pain and we get ourselves in a situation because it's familiar. And I think a lot of us go into a situation of familiarity and just to get right back to that place of cut. So I think we all as a people really, really, really need to get outside of our comfort zone, because nothing grows in comfort.
Nothing. Ooh, nothing. Yeah, let's talk about that. Nothing grows in comfort. Like, let me tell you, I'm in the phase right now of growth, especially in my physical. And my body hurts right now. My calves hurt, my legs hurt. Everything hurts. But trust me when I tell you, I'm going to be more explosive when this heals. I'll be able to move faster. I'll be able to move and with more control, right? I'll have more control over my body. And this is what happens when we heal, y'all. When we heal, KB asks a question, what does healing looks like? It looks like a controlled individual that is not emotionally moved by situations. Healing looks like someone is not triggered by situations or actual emotions or times, right? That's what healing looks like.
Can we
Healing
get Troy
like
back
being
on
able to,
real quick? Because I have a question for Troy. Troy, if you listen, and try to jump back in real quick.
yeah, absolutely. He should be in the comments. I hope he's listening.
Yeah. No, I really, because I know Troy went through or is in therapy heavy, and it's something that I'm looking to get into real soon here as well. But I want to know, what was that conversation like with his therapist, like how to go about, because I think that's what people really need to know. Because do we sit down with the trauma and we name them and we sit down and think about them? What's the clinical way of doing it?
Me, my experience, just because I've just begun, it's questions, bro. It's questions that make you relive things. And then once you start to relive things, you start to pour things out. Like it's a comfort. It's honestly it's a comfort thing. Is you being comfortable to be transparent with somebody. And for some reason, we're more comfortable with complete strangers to be the most transparent. Because like, yeah, I was sitting there, I was saying to myself, like, how in my heck I'm gonna sit here with this man and answer all these and be comfortable enough to tell him my life story. Man, by the end of the first session, I was like, you understand, like giving it up. But the truth is, like, it's literally, and that's what James from the last episode, he asked his one of his favorite statements is, your life is the quality of life is based upon the quality of questions you ask yourself or someone asks you. And ever since I heard him say that, I was just like, yo, you know what? That's so true. Because now that I've been asking myself more pertinent questions, right, and important questions for my life to move forward, right, the questions I'm asking myself now is literally moving myself forward in my all my endeavors, right, my business life, my personal life, my financial life, my family life with my kids and my wife. Everything is improving because I'm asking myself certain questions. And I'm grateful to James, as a matter of fact, for coming on the podcast week, and also just the
Brian,
wealth of knowledge he is, bro. If
whew,
you guys haven't got a chance, listen, go back to last week's episode. That
well,
was phenomenal.
it's about to drop for everybody tomorrow,
Yeah,
right?
it's about to drop tomorrow. It'll be up tomorrow on all platforms. Phenomenal gentleman. He came with a wealth of information and just dropped it on the podcast. And it was really about growth and about this topic. As a matter of fact, we talked about trauma. The topic was trauma, but he gave so many nuggets towards growing and getting past the trauma. So if you get an opportunity, go check the episode out as well, because I can guarantee you'll get something from that can help you going forward, moving forward in life. Yeah, we coming down to the last 10. I'm not sure, but Troy probably didn't get back because he probably is not out of the area where he's in right now with the bad service. But I just want to close out the episode as we always do, man, with the nuggets. Um let's start it with you, Swizzle. Let's drop it for the people before we get up out of here, man.
Um, keep searching. Keep searching. Keep absorbing what's good for you. You have one mouth and two of everything else for a reason. So use those wisely. Um, keep searching. Keep searching. That's um, that's the best thing that I can say right now. Just keep searching.
And my guy, I want everybody to know, understand that what he's saying is true. Don't give up. Please, whatever you do, don't give up. And who needs to hear me, hears me. Needs, don't give up. Don't give up. Keep fighting. It hurts to fight. As tears almost roll out of my eyes right now, it hurts to fight. I've been plenty of fights in my life. I've been in plenty of fights in my life, but the best part about understanding that after the fight's over and you're fighting for a good cause, you're fighting for a worthy cause, you will be repaid better than any man given gift. God's gonna repay your fight. This goes to every man under the sound of my voice. Keep fighting. Keep fighting. Don't give up. Because I heard a man say today that he fought 17 years just for his child to like him. He knew his child loved him, but he wanted his child to like him. Keep fighting. Because at the end of the day, God's going to repay your fight. There's no man can give you what you're asking for. Only God can give it to you. But we be made for it and do for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. That morning is not always going to be a physical morning. It might not be tomorrow morning, But if you hold on and you keep fighting the good fight that God's give you the energy to fight, I'm the man enough to stand here between you and God and tell you that he will honor his word. If I be who God said I am in this moment, he will honor his word. He has not been a time where his word has come back void to him. Keep fighting, Kings. KB, what you got?
I was gonna just say to everybody, sometimes you just gotta show up. The fight is a fixed fight. You understand me? So at the end of the day, you win. Oh no, Daddy. So I'm gonna fix it for you, okay? Okay, I don't know. So at the end of the day, if you show up, you win. Win, loss, or draw. If you at the end of the day, when the bells ring, ding, 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 if you showed up, you'll feel good about yourself. You'll feel good that you was in that fight. Whether it goes your way or not, it's not a win now, but it's definitely gonna be a win later. Your muscles atrophy and you're gonna get to where you need to go. You train harder, you go harder. So at the end of the day, show up, be present. That's all I got.
Listen, y'all. Blessings to you, everybody that's in the room with us. Everybody that will check this podcast out at a later date. Understand that healing is for everyone. You're not too big, you're not too small, you're not too young, you're not too old. Healing starts on the inside. It's an inside job. You can't outsource it. You can't ask someone to heal you. You can ask for professional help. You can reach out. And trust me, if you need help and you want to reach out to me or one of these gentlemen on the platform. And I promise you we can point you in the right direction. But one thing we're not going to do, we're not going to point fingers at you. We're not going to criticize you. Because what we have to do as a people, we have to stop pointing at each other and point each other in the right direction of healing. Because at the end of the day, we're all running the same race as humans. If COVID didn't show us anything else, is that we showed us that money doesn't matter. Material things doesn't matter. What matters is human life. And when we get back to understanding that we're not chasing life, we should be living life, we can get back to understanding that we should be loving the people around us, loving each other, because that's where healing is at, truly at. When you can say to your brother, for real, I love you, without having any feelings behind it other than genuine love. That's when you know you're healed. When you can go back to the person that you felt like you've done you wrong and you can sit there and have a conversation with them. That's when you know your healing has begun. But a lot of us won't even get to that point because we won't do the necessary work it takes on a personal level. So my pleas to everyone that hears this podcast and hear my heart, please hear my heart when I say it. You cannot heal what you don't reveal. You can't heal what you don't know is a cut. And the only way you find out what's going on, what's the trauma in your life, is to really evaluate yourself. Do the personal work. That personal development that we use so lightly, that's such a casual word now, that's so cliche. No, we really must do that work. Because what you're looking at and listening to at this very moment is somebody that takes that personal development journey seriously. My wife will tell you, there's nothing more personal that I take right now than my own development. Because I know that the more I develop, the more my family can benefit. And not only for my family's benefit, but for the sake of my own. So I can be a whole man. So God can continuously use me and be the vessel that I need to be to help the people I need to help. But guess what? If I don't help myself first, there is no way I can help anyone else. And how I help myself first is centering myself, meditating, asking God these questions and being real, just being real with it. Like, yo, I don't know. Why do I do these things? I don't know. God, help me. I think that DMX is his prayers. If we really listen to the transparency in his prayers and use those as examples in our own prayer life, we'll have a change. Let me tell you, I haven't been step foot in the church house and I don't know how long, but my prayer life is strong as it's ever been. And I'm not talking about I'm sitting here praying in tongues and all. No, as I'm sitting here talking to you on this podcast, I talk to my God the same way. God knows your voice. God knows your heart. So you ain't got to pretend. And when you really know your healing is when you start talking to God the way you want somebody to really feel you and understand you. Because he's the creator. He's the one that created you. And there's no one that knows you better. Yo, guys, this podcast is one of those tonight, man. The energy is where it's at. I love it because this is where healing starts. In moments like this is where healing starts. So with that being said, guys, to the fathers out there, to the world, you ain't nothing but a dad, man. Sad to say. That's all you are. But to your family, KB, to that little girl in your arms, KB, to that boy out there that bears your name, Swiss, to your beautiful, beautiful girls that bear your name, and to your champion son that holds your name, and to my champion in the room and my princess, we're the world. And we're never going to forget it. Because this podcast, this platform is designed for us to ensure that it won't be forgotten. And gentlemen and ladies, and until the next time you hear our voice, you know our energy and you know our vibe. Be good to yourself and the ones around you. Be good to yourself and the ones around you, because you don't never know when they won't be around you no more. And if you can't be good to the ones around you, just get those folk from around you. Yeah, you know who this is, man. This has been the Imperfect Fathers Podcast, and we out of here.